I usually use O-rings because I feel like they hold better, unless it's a pen in which you can see the seal. So like a piston filler with an ink window, then I will use the original material, which is cork. But for safeties and for pens like this, there's no point in using cork because it's a bit higher maintenance. It won't hold as long as O-rings will. But in this situation, unfortunately, I don't have any O-rings that will fit that barrel. It's a non-standard size, so I have to use cork. Here's how I make cork seals. Whether it's piston fillers, pens like this, safety fillers, doesn't really matter. First thing is, I get my cork, which is this is floor cork. It's the second, but it's one grade lower in floor cork. Floor cork is supposed to be the best quality cork, and the reason why you care about quality is because cork, when you cut it inside, has pits, and if it has many pits, then it won't allow a good seal. So this cork is supposed to be good because it has the least amount of pits. I'm gonna try and make this. Let me get a better piece. Now the thing about the cork is you want to be careful about which direction you're cutting in. If you cut in a way where the recesses or the pits, these lines, they're not so prominent here, but they're more prominent here, I guess. See these lines? These pits? If you cut down, then these pits will be vertical to your cork, like this guy here, right? And then this will create a problem in sealing. Instead, you want these lines to be vertical because they're easier to manage. So I'm going to cut against those lines. I'm going to cut in a way where those lines are horizontal, right? Now I'm going to measure what I need to cut first. And the way I do that is I just take the part that I'm trying to seal and I create an ink stamp. There you go. Now I have some rough idea of where to cut. I want to cut about 0.2 to 0.3 mm larger than the inner diameter. So I'm just going to measure the inner diameter. It's about 4.3, 4.4 maybe. Actually, this one's a bit tricky. I feel like the threads are making it, the threads are smaller in between, but the actual measure might be 4.6. So I'm just going to make it 4.8 to be safe. So I'm going to make it 4.8. Okay. Start with making a small hole in the center. I start with a thin drill bit so that I don't put too much pressure on the cork and don't end up cracking it or stressing it. Okay. And I go one a little larger. then I measure the cork, the rod, which is going to go through. It's 1.6. So I want to probably make this hole like 1.2 or so that it's a nice tight fit to the rod.
Are you talking to yourself?
I'm talking to the camera, darling. I'm making a video. What do we have here? 1.0, 1.3. Let's go with the 1.3. I don't want to put too much pressure when I'm drilling because then it will again distort the hole. I want it to be a nice even round hole, so I'm going to be gentle. Okay. That's pretty well centered. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to cut around. Okay. That's enough material for us to work with. What did we say we want to bring it down to? 4.8, right? So let's bring it down to a 5 with some rough sanding, and then go fine from there. Okay, just taking out some extra stuff. Okay. For the sanding, I'll start with a really rough grit, which is 80. Being mindful to make sure that I don't do it at an angle, and instead I keep it flat and create a nice evenly shaped cork. As the rough edges go, I can speed up. I'll bring you guys back in a bit. So as you can see here, we're pretty close to what the final size should be. I'm going to switch to less coarse sandpaper, 100 grit. Let's measure. We're getting there. Okay, we're pretty close now. The cork, I will bathe it in a mixture of 1:1 paraffin oil and beeswax. Rather, liquid paraffin. I don't know what it's called in different places, but this is what I use. Okay, this is, you can get this at any chemist. It's you can, it's safe enough for human consumption. And then I melt that with an equal amount of beeswax, and I get this when it cools down. I'm gonna take some of this and I'm gonna heat it and come back. I'm gonna make it, turn it liquid. I'm coming back. So the beeswax is just about, the sealant is just about ready. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna put it in here. I like to do it with the rod in place because otherwise the hole will get filled, and then when I try and push the rod into it, I have experienced that sometimes it will crack the cork. I don't want to take that chance. The idea of doing this is to seal any of those pits that you see in the cork. I think we're good. I'm going to take the excess off out here so that it doesn't form any lumps. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some silicone grease.